is Kiana COF, and my topic is the need for prison reform. My main claim is that prisons have a negative effect on California taxpayers. Prisoners in California are rewarded with better benefits than certain law-abiding citizens. By saying certain law-abiding citizens, I don't mean everyone, because, for example, Donald Trump or Bill Gates don't go in that category because they, for one, are receiving better benefits regardless than the prisoners. But for some certain middle-class to lower-class citizens, prisoners receive better benefits, such as receiving 3 meals a day. 3 meals that are free when these low-income working families struggle to place 1 meal on their table. Second, they don't pay income tax, so they are being fed by California state residents' tax dollars. And third, they receive free health care benefits, while in California, 19% of Americans do not have health insurance. So far, they're living a pretty decent life in prison. Second, the extensive amount of money spent on prisons has a negative effect on public education. By public education, I mean teachers, students, colleges and universities, and public schools. Every person we keep in prison for 1 year is equivalent to the annual salary of a teacher. Second, according to Sherry Brown, California spends 5 times more on prisoners than on students. Growing up, the media and government taught us students that education comes first. Prisoners receive a place to live, free food, free clothing, free health care, free showers, while students in college have to work for those things. I didn't know committing a crime has so many benefits. Taking tenths of a taxpayer's money to spend towards prisons has a negative effect towards middle and lower class citizens. Yes, 10% of your taxes goes to prisons. You or your parents are spending an extensive amount of money towards building new prisons and feeding prisoners. Instead, shouldn't the money go to building new universities, new campuses, giving teachers the money they deserve, and helping college students earn a diploma? Nonviolent offenders are placed in prison for an extensive amount of time, taking more money out of working families, students, and teachers. Let me remind you, the definition for a prison is a correctional institution where persons are confined while on trial for punishment. So giving them free food, television, cable, clothes, and health care isn't so much of a punishment. They aren't learning anything. The government continues to pump millions into prisons while cutting back on cash for public education. But education is the hub of all success, so why is that being taken away? Don Thompson stated, California spends far more per year per inmate than any other jurisdiction. In my opinion, that is unnecessary. What is the need to spend so much money on prisoners? They should work for what they get, just like any other citizen, not in prison. Inflated budgets being diverted in the wrong direction. I was surprised to read what one Texas county did to their prisoners. Put them all in tents, no cable, no gym, no fancy meals, and a working game. Imagine all the money our state could save and pour into other much-needed services, such as education, if they all did this to California prison system. So in conclusion, prisons have a negative effect on California taxpayers. Thank you.
All right, the phrasing of the proposition is a little awkward because I think that it has a negative effect on California taxpayers is a very broad statement. The kind of negative effect it has needs to be elaborated on. It does seem like you are suggesting that it's a trade-off between prisons and other services, in particular education services, on the budget. And is the cause of that the prisoners and the prisons, or is it political decisions that we're making, that we're failing to make effective political decisions? For instance, providing prisoners with more than they are minimally required to be provided. Although 3 meals a day doesn't sound like it's much more than minimal. I think that you probably need to explain why it is that we could save money in regard to those kinds of things if we had, like they have in Texas, the people living out in tents and I don't know what they eat out of bowls or something like that. It wasn't quite clear to me how much money they're saving in Texas. That was all very hypothetical. You get sidetracked in some questions about people being treated better or worse, and I think there's some value assumptions there. The big problem that I see with the argument is it ignores the key benefit that the prisons have provided California taxpayers, which is a counterbalance to the amount of money that we're spending, and that is on crime control, and there's no discussion of that, whether or not it's effective, whether we have been productive in regard to that. The reason that costs are so high in prisons is also not discussed. Is the primary reason for those costs due to the number of prisoners that we have, or due to the elaborate treatment that they get, or is there some other explanation as to why the prison expenses are so high? We didn't get any data on those particular points. Internally, I thought it was well signposted and structured. You needed a preview, though, at the beginning of the speech to clarify that. I thought it was presented pretty effectively, but like I said, you have big contextual issues that need to be clarified more. All right, thank you.